Apparently, an employee at Google has written a memo about how Google's corporate culture discriminates against people who have more of a conservative bent to their thinking. And this has caused a shitstorm. As it would. Okay.
This is a reading of Motherboard Vice's article on the Google Communist, Capitalist, Jewish Manifesto, whatever the fuck this is. It's wrong think. We all know it. Vice has pointed it out. This reading is done by Allison's stupid, silly voice. Please enjoy. Google has written a memo to its employees about the document. A link to the full contents of the document has also been added. At least eight Google employees tweeted Friday about a document that was circulated within the company calling for replacing Google's diversity initiatives with policies that encourage ideological diversity instead. Oh no. The document, which is the personal opinion of one senior software engineer, was shared on a company mailing list, but has since gone internally viral, according to Google employee who spoke with Motherboard.
Someone in a company that prides itself on innovative thinking has suggested it might want to allow for diversity of ideas. Perish the thought.
Motherboard has not viewed the full document, but will comment anyway. A screenshot we viewed shows that it is titled Google's Ideological Echo Chamber. Descriptions of its contents were tweeted publicly by Google employees, and it was described in horrific detail to me by a Google employee who requested anonymity because of the company's notoriously strict confidentiality agreement and the possibility of being buried in a river with concrete shoes. So you bury people in rivers. That's how it works in my world. A lawsuit against the company was filed in a San Francisco court last year over the company's spying program to prevent leaks. Oh, it's almost like Google is an arm of the American government. Saturday afternoon, Gizmodo published the full contents of the document. The person who wrote the document argued that representation gap between men and women in software engineering persists because of biological differences between the sexes, according to the public tweets from Google employees. How did these delicate flowers ever handle such a thought? They're truly the Fukushima reactor. They go in, they do the radiation, and the heroes. It also said Google should not offer programs for underrepresented racial or gender minorities, according to one of the employees I spoke to. Us Pakistanis were fucked because nobody gives a shit about us. The 10-page Google document was met with derision from a large majority of employees who saw and denounced its contents, according to the employee. But Jana Dogan, a software engineer at Google, tweeted that some people at the company at least partially agreed with the horrific statements of the author. One of our sources said the same. While the document itself contains the thoughts of just one Google employee, the context in which they were shared. Well, obviously, this virus is spreading. This thought virus. Google is currently being investigated by the Department of Labor for its gender pay gap, and Silicon Valley has been repeatedly exposed as a place that discriminates against women and people of color, as well as against the private and public response from its workforce are important. What the fuck?
Do you think you could fucking write properly? Jesus Christ, what does this even mean? That sentence doesn't fucking make sense. Oh, whatever.
They're setting up for the witch hunt, folks.
The broader context of this is that this person is perhaps bolder than most of the people at Google who share his viewpoint of thinking women are less qualified than men when we reduce the qualifications for the women to the point where he was willing to publicly argue for it. But there are sadly more people like him who engage in these kinds of logical thinking. If you lower qualifications for women, then women tend to be less qualified. Oh, horrible, wrong think. This kind of logic has no place in Google. What do you think Google is making? Technologies? Oh, no, Google is making social change. But there are, sadly, more people like him. The employee who described the document's content to me said, and they shall be purged.
If you have to lower the qualifications to get women through the door, by definition, they're less qualified than men. A recent study out of Australia found that female candidates are actually favored over male. They compared candidate selection in two conditions, one where the sex of the candidate was known and the other where it was not known. Juries preferred giving jobs to women. Women already enjoy preferential treatment in the job market. Most people would rather have a woman around than a man. The only way to get them equal representation in merit-based occupations is to remove merit as a standard, if they're not already there. In other words, lowering the bar.
At Google, I feel there's a lot of pushback from white dudes, who genuinely feel like diversity is lowering the bar. A former engineering employee who wished to remain anonymous because they had signed a non-disclosure agreement told Motherboard.
I don't even understand the logic of these individuals. They say white men, as if Asian men aren't saying the same. They say white men feel like diversity is lowering the bar, as they actually lower the bar in order to facilitate the goal of diversity. Just because you say white men observe something doesn't make the observation wrong. It's like you're standing there, just right there, doing it. Right there, lowering the bar and like some sort of magical incantation to hide what you're doing. I can't be lowering this bar because white men are observing me lower this bar, and everything white men observe is obviously false because they're white, and more importantly, they're men.
Motherboard has independently confirmed with multiple Google employees that the document is being widely shared among many of the company's software engineering teams. If I have to guess, almost every single woman in engineering has seen it. A recent employee told Motherboard. A separate current employee told me it was actively read by many employees.
And it can't possibly be because these women agree with it. No, Google is forcing them to click on this memo, forcing it in their faces. Look at you women! This patriarchal superstructure at Google demands that you see your inferiority! Listen up, women of Google. If you ever want to see an end to this, if you ever want to save your company from social justice lunacy, you're going to have to speak up. If you're tired of being dismissed as an individual in favor of being seen as a vagina with a victim attached, you're going to have to speak up. If you want to just be part of the team and not singled out as a point in a political football match, you're going to have to speak up. It's up to you now. You're the only ones who can save the Rebel Alliance. You're our only hope.
At several points on Friday night, the document was inaccessible because too many people were attempting to view it concurrently. Google did not respond to 2 requests for comment. On Saturday afternoon, Google's new Vice President of Diversity, Integrity, and Governance. Jesus fucking Christ. Google's new Vice President of Diversity, Integrity, and Governance, Danielle Brown, responded to the document in a statement sent to Google employees.
Vice President of Diversity, huh? You guys are fucked. It's time for somebody to create their own economy. I wonder if you can do that. Just everything, like their own language, their own written language, their own economy, their own currency. It's time to just fucking scratch it all. Scratch it down. Scratch everything off the board. Recreate it.
The document's author also wrote that employees with conservative political beliefs are discriminated against at Google and lamented how leftist ideology is harmful. They argue that the company should have a more open culture where their viewpoint would be welcomed. The document said that improving racial and gender diversity is less important than making sure conservatives feel comfortable expressing themselves at work.
How dare this conservative say he's discriminated against? Discriminate against him! Burn the witch! Incidentally, at least 30% of victims of witch burning were men. In some places, they were the majority of witches burnt. Shh. Inconvenient facts. So a conservative is talking about how he's discriminated against at work based on his belief system. And Motherboard is saying that not only is he not discriminated against because of his beliefs are systematic to Silicon Valley, but he and the rest of his kind should be purged. Because it's good to discriminate against conservatives, because they're not discriminated against enough, even though that's not what anybody's doing, because Silicon Valley secretly supports conservatives. We're not discriminating against you. You can't be discriminated against. Now shut up while we stack this wood.
Incidentally, at least 30% of the victims, while the vast majority of employees did not support the document, felt the document's author should be fired out of a cannon into the Pacific. Some did support this heinous bullshit. According to Dogen, who works the company's Go programming language, the document's author was emboldened by some of the positive responses he got. The author is now in contact with me explaining why he received supportive response, she tweeted.
While the vast majority, well, those poor fuckers are out the door, aren't they? Sorry, I hope you enjoyed your job at Google, but Google has got to get rid of you in the name of diversity.
If HR does nothing in this case, I will consider leaving this company for the realist. For real. Not just on Twitter. For real. For the first time in 5 years, she wrote in a threaded tweet.
And here's the payload.
It's not worth thinking about this as an isolated incident, and instead, a manifestation of what ails all of Silicon Valley. The employee I spoke to, who detailed the document's contents, told me. She seems to have a problem with dropping verbs.
This memo isn't just about Google. It's about everywhere. The witches are everywhere. The communists are everywhere. The Jews are everywhere. The conservatives control everything, and that's why we need to purge them, because we're the ones being discriminated against by this memo. If this wasn't sad, it would be funny. Humans, what are you going to learn? This is just the tutorial level, for fuck's sake. Oh, and here's some poisoning the well for good measure.
Motherload must reiterate, just in case the well isn't poison enough. Google is currently wrapped up in a dispute with the Department of Labor over an agency official testified as systemic compensation disparities against women, pretty much across the entire workforce. Even to their death. Even their granddaughters. So much discrimination. Another official told The Guardian in April that it had discovered compelling evidence of very significant discrimination against women in the most common positions at Google headquarters.
I thought the government was a patriarchy that didn't care about women. The women's. But here is a government investigating Google for gross negligence in benefiting women. Well, if the government isn't the patriarchy, maybe Google is the patriarchy, right? Is that how it works? Wow, we found a shred of patriarchy. Purge Google of all heretical thought. Purge the author of this memo maleficarum. Our ideological fields must be pure as driven snow. And obviously, this single memo by one employee speaking out against the corporate culture of shallow diversity at Google represents all of Google. Not just all of Google, but all of Silicon Valley. Not just all of Silicon Valley, but all of America. Not just all of America, but all of the Western world. No. Not just all of the Western world. All of the Earth. All of the Earth. No. Not just all of the Earth, but all of the solar system. No, not just all of the solar system, but all of the galaxy. And no, not just all of the galaxy, but all of the local groups of galaxies are patriarchy.
Holy shit, woman, calm down.
Rarefied concepts in mathematics.
It is scary how quickly you change like that. Anyway, crazy woman. Miss you are calm. If you enjoy this content, please consider giving this crazy fuck of a woman some money. The link is in the low bar because YouTube does not like PayPal links. Stupid YouTube. And if you want to give her team, who are also a bunch of crazy fucks, you can click the link at the end of this video. It should be here somewhere. Yes, there. Yes. Click it and give the crazy fucks some money so they can be crazy. They're even more crazy for you. Like the crazy fucks, yes. Support them. They can't do anything else for themselves. Except this. This bullshit. Fucking in my country, these people would be shot.